Good morning, math students. You know, there's only one way to learn long division. You need to take it one day at a time. Maybe do 4 problems a day with me and we'll lick this. You'll be really good at it using the Breuer preferred method. This would be a good time for you to get a pencil and a paper so that you could try along with me. That's really going to be a big help to you when you learn how to do this. So go ahead, pause this, go get something to write with and something to write on. I'll be right here waiting. Okay, here we go. So one thing I want to remind you of is we spent a lot of time at the beginning of the year learning about multiples of 10 and 100. So let's write the multiples of 3 first. 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3. So the thing is, if you know 3 times 1, 3 times 2, and 3 times 3 is 3, 6, and 9, then you also know the answer to 3 times 10 and the answer to 3 times 100, the answer to 3 times 20, and the answer to 3 times 200, the answer to 3 times 30, and the answer to 3 times 300. That's really, really important information for long division, because if you know your place value and you know how to multiply by multiples of 10 and 100, then you can do long division, because we're just really putting it all together in a new way. It's awesome. Remember, multiplication and division are opposite operations. You know that. All right, so let's use this information that we have up above and the thinking that we know about multiples of 10 and multiples of 100 to solve this problem. Here we go. Let's divide the number 35 into groups of 3. So we know that 3 times 9 is 27. And we know that that's pretty close to 35, but we could probably get closer. So let's think about our multiples of 10 and multiples of 100. Can we multiply 3 times 10, and would that fit here? 3 times 10. Of course we can. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 10 is 30. And when we subtract, we have 5. So now the question is, can I make groups of 3 using 5? 3 times 1 is 3, which is close to 5. 3 times 2 is 6, which would be too high. So let's try that. Are you writing along with me? Let me slow down. Time to catch up. All right, so what do you think we'll write here? 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So we'll do that subtraction. 5 minus 3 is 2. Can we make groups of 3 with 2? Not with whole numbers, with fractions and decimals, but not with regular whole numbers? No. So we are done here. So now we need to find out how many groups of 3 could we make with 35. We made 10 groups and then we made 1 group. So we made 11 groups of 3 and we had a remainder of 2. So that's how you use a multiple of 10 to solve the division with a larger number. Let's try another one. Let's divide 51 into groups of 3. So again, we would say to ourselves, well, the highest 3 times 9 is 27. Doesn't get very close here. So let's see if we can get a lot closer. Let's try 3 times 10 is 30. That gets pretty close. What about 3 times 20? 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 20 is 60. So that is too high. So we will use, again, 3 times 10 is 30. You go ahead and write that. 3 times 10 is 30. Now we'll subtract to see what we have left to work with. Now, if you know your times tables, your work is really easy here, because you just say, oh, I know that fact. 3 times is 21. If you don't, then you have to write the multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Ding, 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 ding. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 times 7 is 21. Remember not to get sloppy. You can't put the 7 here because that's 7 tenths. And you can't really float it in the middle because that's not a place value. So it's very, very important to write it in the ones place. 3 times 7 is 21. And this one doesn't have a remainder. It came out even, came out equally. So how many groups of 3 could we make with 51? We made 10 groups and 7 groups, so we made 17 groups. 3 times 17 equals 51. 51 divided by 3 is 17. That's true. So let's try another one, because if we do 4 a day, you're going to get really, really good at this. I promise. All right, so I'm going to erase this one. The numbers got larger. We're going to divide and find out how many groups of 3 there are in 83. So the first thing that we should do is say, 3 times 9 is 27. That's way too small. So I'm going to need to look at the multiples of 10. So 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 20 is 60. 3 times 30 is 90. What do you think? That's right. 3 times 20 is 60, is the one that comes closest. It's not very close, but it's the closest one without going over. 3 times 20 is 60. Go ahead and write that. 3 times 20 is 60. Now we'll subtract to see what's left. So now we look at our number and we say 3 times is close to 23. If you know your number facts, then it's easy because you know your times tables for 3 and you would know what the answer is. And you'd say, oh yeah, 3 times is close to 23. But if you don't, you need to write your 3's. How come I'm writing my 3's? Because I'm dividing with 3. Okay, so there are the multiples of 3, and I'm looking for the one that comes closest without going over 23. And again, it's 21. Did you remember what 3 times is 21? Yep. Remember, you don't have to learn everything new every time. You can use stuff you know from the past. So we just did a problem where 3 times 7 was 21. 3 times 7 is 21. And when we subtract, we get 2. Can I make another group of 3 with 2? Not with whole numbers. So there are 27 groups of 3 in 83 with 2 left over. This might be beginning to feel a little bit comfortable for you. You might be getting to feel like, I'm kind of getting this now. Or this might seem like craziness to you. And that's okay. You're probably somewhere in between. It's all right. It's going to take many days. And we have plenty of time. And we'll just keep practicing. Speaking of practicing, here's one more. Let's find out how many groups of 3 are in 97. So 3 times 9 is 27 is not close enough. This would not be helpful. So we need to get much closer. So we'll look at the multiples of 10. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 20 is 60. 3 times 30 is 90. What would be next? 3 times 40. Well, let's see, 3 times 4 is 12. So 3 times 40 is 120. What are you thinking? That's right. We're going to use 3 times 30 is 90. Because that's the closest to 97 without going over. Because we can't divide groups of 120 because we don't have 120. We only have 97. 3 times 30 is 90. And we subtract. And we have 7 left. Can we make some groups of 3 with 7? Yep. How many? That's right, 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And now when we subtract, and that's why they call it long division, because there are many steps, we have one left, and that would not be a group of 3. You could divide it with fractions or decimals, but not with whole numbers. So we did 30 groups and 2 groups, so that's 32 groups with a remainder of 1. So my plan is to post these same problems on the assignment, and I want you to try to do them on a piece of paper, not the ones you've been writing these on. And then you can go back through and check with the video and see how you did. What are the steps that you're doing well? What are the parts that are confusing to you? You can write to me and ask about it, or you can watch the video again, or you can wait till tomorrow. We'll talk about it again tomorrow, because this is hard work, boys and girls, but you're doing a great job. Okay, so I'll see you soon. Good luck today with the math.